All right, you guys, welcome to the On Fire Empire team call. Today is December 11th. December. Did y'all hear that? December 11th. We are in the final stretch of 2018, and I can't even fathom it. And all the things that our team has done this year, and so many new faces on here tonight than were on here a year ago, 5 months ago. It's such an incredible place to be in. And I'm so thankful for each and every one of you being on here tonight, taking the time to learn how to build a business, build an incredible tribe, and share your story effectively. Before I toss it over to Logan and Leslie, I wanted to do some Success Club shout outs. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Now, I will say, I don't know if anybody else is experiencing this, but my drill down is taking forever to update. So if you feel like your number should be different than what's showing on here tonight, I feel ya, because my number should be different than what are showing here tonight. But here's what I have. A Success Club 10 already this month. On the 11th, we have Miss Shelby Frost, 16, brand new baby coach, who is showing us that you just got to start sharing right away. Way to go, Shelby. Already at Success Club 5 this month, we have Nicole Allen at 8, Heather Espinoza at 6, Ashley Nelson at 6, and Jessica Turner at 6. Way to go, ladies. And look at all these names we have on the board. Absolutely incredible. So many of you guys already close to hitting Success Club. Dan Frost, is that Shelby? Is that your fiance? Who is that? I can't see it. Let's see. Brother. Oh wait, your fiance wouldn't have the same last name as you right now. Anyway, Kaylee Morris is at 4, Brianna Dash is at 4, and Jonna Packer is at 4, and so many other ladies on the board, husbands, spouses. Way to go, you guys. I'm so proud of you. Like I said, here we are sitting at December 11th, not even halfway through the month yet, and we are changing lives. And, you know, December can have some challenging things in our way with the holidays around us. But, you know, if we set out and we stay consistent, I promise you guys that what you do today, what you do this month is going to set the tone for your year in 2019. I was talking to a coach today and she was like, I'm really frustrated because I feel like I sent so many invites last month and I didn't hit Success Club. She was like, every month I send the most invites, I fall short of my goal. And then some months I feel like I'm not trying that I hit it. And I was like, well, it's because what you do right now are the people that are going to sign up in a month or 2 months. And so if you stay consistent, you keep inviting, I promise you're going to keep that momentum going. And we're going to roll into 2019. And before we know it, we're going to be in December 2019. You're going to be like, holy cow, I'm so glad, even though it was really frustrating last December, I'm so glad I stuck with it, because here are these amazing ladies that if I wouldn't have been here with me. All right, you guys. So tonight we're all here to lean in and learn how to share our story effectively. And I hope, like I said before, I hope you guys all have your pen and paper, because I know Leslie and Logan have put their heart into this to share with us some really, really great tangible items to take away from this. And I want to say before they start is that I want everyone on here to know that you have a story. I am somebody who always felt like, oh, I don't really have a story. Like, my life was pretty great. I wasn't that overweight. I always felt like I didn't have enough of a story to share. And Leslie is one of the ones who was like, no, tell me more. No, tell me more. But why? But why? And through being a coach for 3.5 years, I've realized that my story, although I felt like it was small, is so similar to so many other people's story. And it was my job to let them see that their story mattered just like mine does. So I don't want you to count yourself out if you feel like you don't have that rags to riches story, it is okay if you don't, but you still have a story that needs to be told. All right. So I don't know who I'm giving it to first, but Leslie and Logan, it's all you guys.
You're gonna give me all the feels already, Haley. Don't get me on a couch and I'll get your story out of you. Okay, so I'm really excited to talk to you guys tonight about storytelling because I'm super passionate about it. You guys, people are attracted to coaching for like all sorts of reasons. Obviously, the community, the income, the discount, and obviously coaching has given me all of that. But at New Leader Conference, we were asked to write one word on our hand about what coaching has given us. And I wrote the word voice. Because coaching gave me a chance to share my story. It gave me a platform to, change my pain into power. And I literally am so thankful every single day that Logan saw that I had a story to share, and that she invited me to share that story. And so, you guys, that was just a nudge. You know, she didn't really know me. So if you see that in someone, do not ignore that nudge to invite that dream teamer, because somebody might have a story that they need to share. And that's something that you don't always think about, that someone might just want to share their story or need to. So you guys, we are talking to you about storytelling because it's such a critical piece of your job. It's what is going to make you stand out above the noise. There are so many coaches out there doing exactly what you're doing. For example, with Transform 20, everyone's talking about Transform 20 and what's going to make you stand out above the noise. It builds trust with people. It helps your people find you. It's going to help you find your people. And a lot of the times it helps us eliminate a lot of the conversations that we don't like having. You guys don't like having price conversations. And when we're doing effective storytelling, sometimes it eliminates a lot of those conversations. If we're doing effective storytelling and we're talking about what our products do for us, it helps us focus on value instead of dollars and cents. And you guys, it helps us focus on moments instead of results and ingredients. It helps us focus on emotions and our struggles and hopes instead of, like the perfectly placed, I was going to say emojis. Okay, you guys, it's much more about finding what makes you you. Okay, and we're going to help you figure out how to do that. And a lot of times when we talk to coaches about what their stories are, we either hear, like Haley said, I don't have a story, or my story is so big I don't know where to start, right? And so Logan and I are going to kind of like take those two, and then we're going to help you learn how to address those, okay? So, but basically, we're going to talk to you about just starting to tell your story, because I think a lot of times we get so excited about Beachbody products and programs that we just skip telling our story altogether. We think that people don't have time to hear it, but that is what people want to hear, okay? They want to hear you, they want to hear your story, and we're going to help you do that tonight. So Logan is going to start us off by telling you guys how she figured out what her story is and how she tells that story over and over and over again.
Okay. So I am going to show some actual like social media examples from me, like back in the day of my early days of coaching. So I've been coaching for 3 years, which isn't forever, but I did sign up in the DVD era. So I'm a little OG, but I had to like scroll way back into my Instagram to kind of find some examples, because I don't want you guys to think that I was just like born like a little baby coach natural storyteller. I had it all figured out. Like, it's something that I had to learn and constantly tweak and fine tune. And the more I got comfortable sharing layers, the more like the deeper layers got easier to share. Does that make sense? Like, it can be really scary and really intimidating to share our story, because that can feel way more personal than, you know, just sharing that you did a workout and that the challenge packs are on sale this month, you know, but actually talking about feelings and emotions and talking about where we were before to where we are now. Like, there's just so much more emotion wrapped up in that. We're so much more vulnerable if someone were to leave us a not nice comment, which just very rarely happens. And luckily we have personal development to, you know, brush that aside. But I just want you guys to know that this is something that you're not, I mean, we are going to give you like all kinds of tools and some tangible like activities to do today to, you know, unfold the layers of your story, but it's not necessarily something that you're going to wake up tomorrow morning, like necessarily like knowing your story or feeling comfortable sharing all of the pieces like all at once. So just be prepared to know that this is going to take some work and some reflection on your part, but it is going to make you so much more successful in the long run, because like Leslie said, your story is the piece that's going to make you stand out against all the noise. Everyone is selling something on the internet, whether they're a coach or they work in essential oils or leggings or wraps or whatever it is. And the thing that's going to set you apart is your unique story, because it's going to speak to the people who have a similar story. When you craft your posts, speaking like you're speaking to everyone, you end up actually not speaking to anyone. Like, when you're speaking to everyone, you're not speaking to anyone. You want to kind of dial in to get as specific to you and why this is important to you and what it's done for you, because there are people out there who are just like you that need this in their life. So it's really, really important that you understand the difference between talking around a story and alluding to a story versus actually telling the specific details of a story. There's a really big difference. And a lot of us, I mean, I'm going to show you like some of the posts in the past where I allude to a story, but I don't actually tell my story. You know, I allude to the fact that I was struggling in the past, but I don't say like what my actual day-to-day struggles were. Because when you go to post a sweaty selfie and someone looks at it, they're like, good for you, Susan, you worked out again. Like, whoop-de-doo, what does that even matter? Like, I don't care. But when you share, you know, your workout or your transformation, and you take them through what used to be your normal, and then there's like 3 parts to your story, okay, when you're crafting it in your post. There's your old normal, how you used to be, what your life used to look like. Then there's this explosion event, which is usually, and then I found Beachbody, or and then I found my tribe. And now there's a new normal. And the mistake that most of us make is we start at the explosion and share the new normal, but we don't talk about the old normal. And that's the piece that everyone's going to relate to. That's the piece that the people reading our posts are going to, like, their breath is going to catch, and they're going to say, oh my gosh, like, she has the same struggles as I do. Me too. You're going to give that person that me too moment, that why not, if she can do it, why not me? So the difference in talking around the story versus actually telling specific details of the story. An example, we had this incredible, I've shared her video in the team page before, but we had this incredible keynote speaker at Leadership in Vegas in October. and her presentation was all about storytelling. And she talks about how, you know, a lot of times like in our like industry, you will hear coaches talk about how the coaching opportunity has given them financial freedom. And one of the big perks of the financial freedom is being able to spend more time with their family. And, you know, so you can talk about that. Like, you know, one of the biggest blessings of coaching is it's given me the opportunity to spend more time with my family. And that's nice, but it doesn't necessarily evict a lot of emotion, you know? Whereas if you tell a specific story, like the example that she gave was there was, you know, a mom who was, you know, working full time. She started this like side hustle biz, kind of like coaching, but she was still working full time. And every year her kids had what they called Author's Day at school. And for the day, they would get to dress up like their favorite author or like their favorite character from this author's book. And she would take them to school and drop them off in their costumes, and then she would go to work. And while she was at work, why am I already crying? While she was at work, she would get text messages of all of these photos of her kids dressed up in their costumes and enjoying the party and being with all the other kids. And she's getting all of these photos from other moms that are at Author's Day. And so her camera roll is just full of photos of her kids, and they're having a great day. And she's just devastated because these are all photos that have been taken from other people, because she's not there to experience these moments with her kids. So she draws the line in the sand. She says she's going to buckle down. She's going to do the work. So next year on Author's Day, they get all dressed up. They go to school. She drops them off and she gets to stay. And her camera roll is full of photos of her kids on Author's Day that she got to take herself. So do you feel the difference in telling the story versus alluding to around the story, you know, the financial freedom to spend more time with my family versus telling a story like Author's Day? There's just such a huge difference. And those are the kind of posts that, you know, moms are going to read, you know, when it's 11 o'clock at night and, you know, they're scrolling Instagram, and Amanda and I are like commenting on each other's stories, and we're like, what are you still doing awake? I don't know. You need to go to bed too. But those are the kind of posts that moms are going to read, like when they're about to go to sleep, that just like punch them in the gut, and they're going to go to sleep and they're going to dream about what this opportunity could possibly do for them in their life, because they have a tangible story to connect with. And guys, it isn't the magnitude of the story that matters, because Leslie's going to talk about this. Like, Leslie and I have very different stories. She comes from, like, she has had so many things happen in her life and has so many stories to tell. And when I put my story next to hers, like, it can sometimes feel like, wow, I don't really have a story like that. But it doesn't matter. It's not the magnitude of the story. It's just the difference. The difference is the act of actually telling the story. It's not the magnitude of the story that matters. It's the decision to actually tell a story that makes a difference. So I'm going to share my screen really quick and show you guys some of my old posts versus, hold on, I'm trying to pull this screen up so that it's a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay, too many screens up. You guys, there's 48 people on here right now. I'm like a little bit freaking out because that's a lot of people. It's probably one of our biggest calls that we've had when we haven't had Shaun T as a guest speaker. Okay, so these are some posts of Logan's from back in the day. This is like circa 2016. So, you know, I'm sharing face-to-face transformations. I'm sharing a workout, but like you can see here, like it's crazy how much can change in 3 years. 2 babies later, 30 years old, I'm the healthiest and happiest I've ever been. My new lifestyle, clean eating, exercise, this is my routine, blah, blah, blah. And then the middle one says, left was in my time hop from 3 years ago, and right was just a couple days ago. It's like, okay, like there's not a story, like who gives a shit, okay? And then the last one, legs on fire, lower fix extreme, left me shaking today. Again, that is a very much like big whoop. Do you see how there's no story? Like I'm sharing, you know, and I'm not saying that you have to like delve into a deep story with every single post because that's really not necessary. But there's a difference in these posts versus the ones I'm going to show you like in a second. But especially with this first one, because you can tell that I start at the explosion and go to the new normal, but I don't talk about what the old normal used to be. So there isn't that layer for other people to relate to, you know? Now this one, this is the post. This is the infamous post that actually sucked in Leslie. So this one's just going to get framed and like put up on the wall forever. But this is where I start to tell more of a story. You know, I was so afraid that I was going to fail again. I was afraid I was going to spend money on a gimmick that would take up space in my pantry. That was something specific that she related to because she was like, I have so much crap like from other companies in my pantry that I just like don't use. I was like, yeah, that was me too. I was afraid to tell anyone, including my husband, what I wanted to do because of fear of judgment. Ultimately, I was afraid that I was going to try and fail. And that was a layer that so many people related to because all of a sudden it went from like, good for you, Logan, like you work out and you look good now to, oh, she was afraid to start too. Like she had fears and reservations and all of the things that are going through my mind telling me why I can't do this or why I can't be successful. She felt that too. But now look at what she's been able to do. Maybe I can do it too. This post, you know, I talked about when I was in college and in my 20s versus where I'm at like now in my 30s. And, you know, go through quite a bit of story. This was a post that Emma connected with, being a college student and seeing me talk about how I just thought that eating healthy was like eating 100 calorie snack packs and fat free and, you know, diet soda and, you know, trying to do all the things and, you know, gym memberships and elliptical and all of that. And then again, I talk about, you know, once I was a really exhausted mom of 2 kids and, you know, I didn't have the energy to shower, let alone drag them to the gym. So I talk about like what my old normal was. And then over here, I talk about the explosion, you know, when I found my tribe and how I feel now. And then this one is a pretty infamous post of mine because a lot of times people recognize when I start talking about my story is when I start talking about like peanut butter and jelly crusts. It never fails that when I make a post like this where I talk about how my daily diet consisted of coffee and leftover mac and cheese or sandwich crusts because I didn't have a quick, easy, healthy ideas or plan to follow, like those are the posts where I automatically get responses in my inbox saying like, girl, you literally like described what I eat every day. Like I just survive on iced coffee and my kids' leftover food and I don't know how to break out of it. So again, talking about the old normal and then the explosion, which was, you know, I reached my pain point, made a leap of faith. And then you can see in my before and after photo, you know, what the new normal is. So I hope you enjoyed that trip down memory lane. I had to resist the urge to go delete some old posts. But yeah, so just so you guys know, like, we all start somewhere, and it's just the decision to start telling your story. And this is the kicker. You can't just tell it once and expect that everybody has heard it. You have to tell it over and over and over and over, because if you're doing your job, you should be adding new people to your network, every week. And those people will not have been around, 2 months ago when you made that post that told your story. And if you're I really challenge you guys to tell your story, like whatever you consider kind of like your arching story. We obviously want to tie in storytelling to like almost every post, but do at least one post where you kind of tell your like overarching story at least once a week. And do not get in your head about, well, people have already heard it and they're going to get annoyed with me, because all it is another opportunity for them to identify themselves in your story and your struggles. And the more you do it and the more practice you get, the easier it's going to get to share, and the more layers you're going to discover and the more things you have to share. So it's something that takes, some reflection and some fine tuning over time. But I promise you, it is the piece that is going to make you stand out against the noise. And when you send invites, people will start responding back to you, because whenever I'm getting hit up by the Arbonne ladies like crazy. I don't know, like they're in a really big push right now, but they are all up in my inbox. And what's the first thing you do when you get an invite from someone that's wanting to like pitch you with something? You go to their profile. And if I go to their profile and I can't even tell like what it is they're about or what their story is, then like big whoop. Or if all I see is like the same like kind of dark sweaty selfie, or all I see is like pretty food, but I'm not getting like the whole picture, or I'm not having that opportunity to like have that emotional connection and think like, oh wow, like we have this in common. So if this works for her, then maybe it could work for me too. So Leslie, were you ready to take your next piece about how to, if your story is so big?
I really like what you say about, obviously like keep telling your arching story, because you're adding followers, but people's situations change too, and so I had a girl join me last month who didn't have babies 2.5 years ago, but now she does. And now she's tired, exhausted, and anxious. And so she could relate to my story now, and so even though I'm sure she's read it a million times, it never clicked. But now that she read it, now it clicked. Now it's a Me Too moment. So it's crazy that it never really clicked with her before, but now she's like, oh, me too. So it's just crazy that you just have to keep telling it over and over and over again. And obviously, you guys, when we're talking about storytelling, we're not just talking about the story, like she said. We're talking about all your stories, the things you're struggling with now, but it's not just struggles, it's your hopes and your visions and your day-to-day life. It's your childhood, it's the things in your life. It's making everything a story, and it's bringing people into your day-to-day life. But a lot of it obviously is that arching story, and that's the biggest thing that's going to get people to have that Me Too moment with you. So you have a bigger story. Maybe you have a story, but you just don't know where to start. That was kind of my deal. I had a story. I knew I had a story, but I didn't know where to start. I wanted to share it. I had this urge to share it, but I had a ton of hesitations too. And I've talked to a few of you that have similar hesitations. The biggest one usually is, what will people say? What will people think? In the beginning, I had the same feelings. That might be hard for you guys to imagine about me now, but I was scared to death about what people thought about me in the beginning. Renee and Logan and Haley can attest to this. I was so afraid about what people thought about me, you guys. I overanalyzed every single like and comment that I got, and it would crush my day if someone unfriended me. This is a huge testament to the power of personal development, because now I'm just like, bye Felicia, see you later. So you guys do your freaking PD, okay? Because you guys, this will help you to share your story with courage and show up and let yourself be seen. You guys, I was gonna like save this till the end, but you guys, sharing your story is incredibly healing for you. Okay, it is incredibly healing for you. That just like makes me like shake inside saying that. Being able to tell my story has not only been able to help other women, it's helped me get over my stuff. Okay, so that is a really big thing. The second thing is what's okay to share, what's not okay to share. And that's like a personal thing. That's a personal thing for everybody. You know, some of you know my story, some of you don't. You know, there are things that I've shared and some things that I haven't shared. Some things I share on social media, some things I share in personal messages. It's a case by case like decision. But I always keep things respectful. I keep things respectful to my son's dad. My son, because it's his dad, and also to my parents. But when it comes down to it, it's your story. You have a right to tell it, but you want to keep things respectful. But you guys, don't share things that you're gonna like regret. I always talk about, there's this thing called a vulnerability hangover. It's real. You'll share stuff and then it'll be like, oh gosh, that was like a lot, and now I feel kind of like weird about it. And sometimes it can be good, it's healing, and sometimes it's like, oh, I overshared. Okay, and like I said, you'll learn as you go. This is a journey. Like Logan said, you don't have to share everything overnight. I don't recommend it. You don't need to word vomit. Just share little pieces. We're gonna give you tools on how to do that, but share with what you're comfortable with now. I've been coaching for 2.5 years, you guys, and I started really small, okay? A really safe place to start sharing is in your challenge group. It's a really safe place. What happens in your challenge group stays in your challenge group. And if it doesn't, we'll kick them out. You guys, it's a really safe place to start sharing. And, you know, if you haven't read T is for Transformation, I really love that book because he talks about just loving yourself where you're at. And if you are working on getting yourself to where you want to be, then just love yourself where you're at right now. And I really liked that a lot because there were times in my journey where I wasn't where I wanted to be yet, but instead of beating yourself up about it, you can just be happy that you're on your way, okay? So you guys, like Logan said, the piece about not skating around the story is really, really good advice. I think we can share the Kendra Hall video, right, Logan? It's in the team page, but I feel like this is really, really good advice because you can be sharing stories and think you're doing a really good job and not be doing as good a job as you think you are. Everyone told me like, Leslie, you're really good at sharing stories. And when I listened to the Kendra Hall video, I was bawling my eyes out because I realized I was skating around the story. It took me a long time to talk about my addiction on social media. And it took me a long time. I told Logan, by the end of the year, I'm going to use the word addiction in my social media. I'm going to use the word. That was like my goal. Got to the end of the year, I said the word. By the end of like 6 months, I'm gonna talk about it. Like, this is my goal. Okay, but you guys, I just skated around it. I could never really like talk about it. And after watching like Kendra Hall video, I like went home and wrote the post because I needed to like talk about it. And I couldn't like skate around it anymore. And like, I got so many messages that night from like people, and I kept waiting for like that one message from somebody that like would tell me that I was like a shitty mom. Gosh, sorry. I kept waiting for like that one message, like just that one hater that was gonna tell me like you're a piece of crap mom, and it never came. It was just all love and support, like everybody just telling me how brave I was. And it was just validation for me, and I hope it's validation for you, that you just, like Logan said, just decide to show up and tell your story, because people need to hear it, you guys. Like Logan always told me that like you have the keys to unlock someone's prison, and like she unlocked mine, okay? And you never know like what your story could do for somebody else. Okay, your turn.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess. Hold on. I'm trying to find I don't even know what I'm supposed to talk about next.
The exercise, sorry.
Got it. Okay. So we have a few different exercises that we are going to give you guys for homework to start, peeling back the layers of your story. So this is where you really take out your pen and write this down. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half and make a nice crease down the middle. And on one side, you're going to make a list of at least 10 things that describe who you were or how you felt before Beachbody. And then on the other side, you are going to write at least 10 things of who you are or how you feel now, so that you can kind of see, where you were before and where you are now. There should be a difference. If there's not, then we really need to dig into, your nutrition and your fitness and your personal development. Being a product of the product is the number one thing. And then the second thing that we are going to do it's a really good exercise. Leslie and Renee brought it back from it was your first Super Saturday that you guys went to in Portland, right? Yeah, I couldn't go because I think it was Lucy's birthday. And it was a exercise that Jeff Hill from corporate had them do at Super Saturday, and super powerful, and something that like even new coaches, like even if you've been on this journey for like a couple weeks, like you're going to notice differences from where you were before to where you are now, or like really kind of what made you make the shift from where you were then to what you're working towards now. The second thing that we are going to do is in the team page. I will be posting, some of you have already done this exercise with me, but we are going to be posting a blank photo of what's called the color wheel. And this is a pretty fun little exercise. And when you first sit down, you're going to probably look at it and be like, oh my gosh, like I don't know how I'm going to fill in like all these little things. And but I promise once you get started, like I'm going to show you a picture so you can kind of see what it is that I'm describing. Oh, not that one. So I'm going to post this picture of the color wheel in the team page, the blank one. And I want all of you guys to like save it to your camera roll or upload it or download it onto your computer. Put it into either WordSwag or Canva or whatever app you like to use to add text to photos. And you are going to fill in all these different colors with things that describe you. And it can't be like T25 and Shakeology and containers. Like health and fitness can be like one or two of them, but then the rest of them are like all the other things that make you you and unique and special. Because sometimes as coaches, we can fall into the trap of only sharing, the health and fitness side of things. And people really get bought into us when they see that we're a human, like outside of Beachbody, like they are now. So this is like an example of what mine looks like when it's filled in. And as you can see, like I filled mine in and then I was like, well, I'm not done. So I need to just start like adding some other, things around the side. But this is an example. So we are going to post this in the team page, and I want all of you guys to take the next day or two. When do we want them done by? Friday? Thursday, Friday at the latest. And we're going to just like, once you're done with yours, you're going to drop it in the comments of the thread. So we're just going to have this whole beautiful thread of color wheels. And it's really fun because like I did this activity with some girls a few weeks ago and we learned so much about each other, like that, like some commonalities and similarities that we had that we didn't like already know. So it's a really fun way to just kind of get to know each other better. And then the last activity that we are going to be doing is going to go along with a national wake-up call from last year. We will track down the audio recording because it was before they were doing the live videos like they do this year. But it's a national wake-up call by Ashley Laughlin, she's a superstar diamond coach now this year. She wasn't last year when she did the call, but she is a former teacher. And she talks about how one of the things she has her team do is called a struggle web. And like, this is very much like, a teacher activity where you sit down and just kind of start like mapping things out. I'm not a teacher, so I don't know the like, whatever the technical like jargon is for this sort of activity. But like you can see here, like I have my struggles like in the middle, and then I start branching off. So the things that are circled in red are kind of like my bigger struggles. And then you can see then the fear of failure like branches off. And I'm reading these now and I'm like, holy crap, I haven't posted about like a lot of these things in a really long time. My fear of failure branches off into, the fact that I've always been a perfectionist, fear of failure of that I'm not using the degree that I went to college to anymore, fear of failure of like, what would my parents and my family think about what I'm doing now versus that I'm not like practicing nursing anymore, fear of failure, like in the very beginning, what if I suck, and like with exercise and fitness, like one of my struggles was like I had tried a personal trainer in the past, but it was too expensive. I couldn't stay motivated. I really don't like working out. They all gasped, but I get it done anyways. I quit everything that I start. I never saw results in the past, so I quit, wasted money on gym memberships. So can you see how like each of these like bigger struggles breaks down into smaller, pieces or fears or struggles? And those are the things that turn into your posts. And when you're weaving these in day after day, week after week, people really start to learn, all the kind of pieces to your puzzle. And you don't feel as one note and like you're not copying and pasting your same story every week, So this is an activity that you can really sit down and do once if you take the time to really be intentional with it, and then keep referring back to it all year. I mean, I'm sure you're probably going to need to, add some things to it because this is just such a like fluid like process of growth, and we're always going to be learning new things about each other and overcoming new struggles. But this is a really, really good activity to start with, to really kind of give you a basis of like, where do I even start when it comes to sharing my story? And on those days where you're like, I just don't know what to post, I can't post anything, then you go to your struggle web and you get a little inspiration and, put a picture with it and you're good to go. Was there anything, Leslie, are you hungover? Do you have any do you have anything left?
Does anybody have like probably have time for like 2 questions? We like
I was
time.
Oh yeah,
go
go
ahead.
for it, Haley.
I was gonna add the whole before and after activity. If you've done it before, I encourage you guys to do it again tonight or, you know, by Friday or whatever they said. This was something that I had to do around last year, this time, August, September, where I was in a real funk and was really on the edge of, do I keep pursuing this or do I just enjoy the discount and be happy that I was the bridge that brought Logan and some other girls on the team, because that was my job. And so I had to sit down. So many times I heard, you know, you have to have this crystal clear vision to keep you on course. You have to remember why you're doing this. And at that time, I was like, I don't know what my vision is. Like right now, I'm under a baby who wants to nurse, you know, 20 out of the 24 hours of the day, and a 2-year-old who wants me to play with her, and then a preschooler. And honestly, I don't know what my vision is right now, right? And I had this vision, but right now it just seems really hard. And so I remember sitting down with Brock one evening, just nonchalantly, and essentially we did this. It was like, you know, he was like, well, Haley, like, why would you not want to continue it? And I'm like, because it takes time and it takes work. 2 of things that I don't feel like I have right now or that I can contribute to. And then we had to talk about, okay, well, but do you want to go back to how you felt before this? How did you feel before this? We would not be having this conversation 3 years ago, because I didn't talk about things below the surface, even with my husband. And so this was essentially, now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't sit down and like do it, but essentially this is what we did that got me back on track with my health and fitness and with my business. And so it's super important as a new coach, like we said, like, I don't care how many days, weeks you've been doing it, there's got to be a change already, whether it's being on this call and being surrounded by women because you are at home all day with a baby and getting to have friends, whether it is having that accountability to show up and press play, you haven't had that before, whether it's having amazing access to recipes, like it can be the smallest thing. Something has changed no matter how long you've been doing it. But even if you've been here 3 years, sometimes you got to revisit and remember what it was like before this, because we sometimes get stuck in, well, I've always been like this. No. And I saw somebody else say, you know, I still don't feel like I have a story. And I remember feeling, I still sometimes feel like that. It's still something that I have to like tell, you know, those lies to stop. But for me, it wasn't so even like distinct in like the motherhood, because Logan and I, like our stories are very similar. Like when we start talking about, I'm not using a degree that we worked for, being a mom, 2 babies, you know. But I was happy. I didn't realize how unhappy I was until I started this. And in my head, I thought, well, if I start telling everybody I was unhappy, they're going to think I'm lying and I'm making up a story because I just want to get, you know, some people to do this with me. But you guys, this journey of health and fitness and starting your own business and being surrounded by really encouraging people daily makes you realize maybe just how, lost my little AirPod. Lost you guys. Maybe just how unhappy, how lonely. Yes, that's so true. Like looking back, just how lonely, and maybe how, for me, I wanted to put on a face for people, right? I wanted people to feel like Haley has got it all together. She's mama too, and like, look at her. And so I just want to encourage you guys to really dig deep tonight, or over the next couple days when you're doing these couple exercises, and don't feel like, if you've, I mean, no one's been here longer than me. So if I'm going to sit down and do all of them again, I want all of you to do all of them again, or revisit them and add to it, because we all get in a funk where we feel like, oh, I don't have anything to post about. And all I can say is, we'll go look at Logan's struggle web. Like, she hasn't posted about 10 of those things in the last 2 months. She can go to that. I know you have some things. I know I have a ton of things that I haven't shared. So if I'm going to do it, you guys are going to do it, right? All right. Any questions for anyone? I mean, Leslie, Logan, anyone on here I know can answer. Okay. So what day did you say by? Friday? Thursday? Can't remember. I was having to plug in my computer so it did not die.
I think she said Friday.
Okay. So we'll get those threads started where we can post pictures or screenshots or whatever it is.
Sneak peek starts tomorrow.
Sneak peek starts tomorrow. We will, I've got pictures to put in there, Leslie. We'll be going live in there. So if you have anybody that is not already in there, because it is the same group that we've used, so if it's somebody that you've added before, you may even just, this is a great time to follow up with them and be like, hey, just letting you know, we're doing another sneak peek tomorrow. I can't wait for you to hear from some of the ladies on my team. Let's chat again. And Transform 20, keep talking about it, you guys. The launch isn't over. The launch is going to keep happening and keep happening. As long as you talk about it, the launch is happening. Okay. So I know I posted in the team page the other day, maybe it was yesterday, I don't remember, that like sitting at SC0 on December 10th, like that was totally not what I had in my head for how this month was going to go. But that doesn't mean that the launch sucked and I failed at it. It just means I got to keep sharing about it. I got to keep inviting people, because I promise you guys, I said this at the beginning of the call, promise. Christmas comes around, New Year's comes around. You want to be the person that people think about first whenever they're ready to do something. So,
oh my gosh. Leslie, and we have the tool, that tool of the free workout now, you guys. Leverage that. Like, post about it. Find out like who wants to, I mean, everybody loves free stuff. So find out who wants to try the workout for free. It's a Vimeo link. And so you can either, like, they make it downloadable. Well, there's a couple ways you can go about it. They can either sign up as a free customer of yours, and then they can access it through Beachbody On Demand as a free customer, or you can send them the Vimeo link. I'm just sending the link because it's one less step that I have to do as far as like getting them to like sign up a thing. I would rather like shoot them the link, have them do the workout, and be like, oh my gosh, I need to keep doing this. So I will share the Vimeo link in the team page. And I've been getting, people who have not done any Beachbody workouts who, have tried it today and they're super excited about it. So yeah, it's a really awesome tool to be using right now. I'm going to post it. I'm probably going to, I can't decide if I'm going to do the link or if I'm going to put the actual the actual video download into our launch group. And then I thought we could do some sort of contest where whoever, does the workout and post a sweaty selfie like in the comments or something by the weekend, we'll send them something. We'll choose someone to send something, but just like gets people doing it and gets that seed planted. Before everyone hops off, let's take a picture. I have 2 pages. So everyone, for page number 1, I don't know who all is on what page. So everybody smile. Okay, I'm gonna go to page number 2, but everyone keep smiling because you might be on my 2. Okay, I will post these in the team page. Keep your eyes out so I will share the Vimeo link. I will share these photos so that you guys can like post them on your stories tonight and create FOMO. We will post the color wheel. I will track down the recording for the struggle web so you guys can do that activity. And then the like 10 before and after is probably the quickest one. So just go ahead and do that one tonight and send it to your coach for accountability. Okay. It was really fun hanging out with you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.